Your body knows how to be healthy. I'm your host, Martha Blessing, and this is the Place to Be Free podcast, a show that is passionately devoted to illuminating the potential within you to transform your health and life. We're shaking up and breaking up old paradigms so you can free up your mind and body, elevate your consciousness, and create profound well-being and a ridiculously happy and healthy life. On this show, we defy the norms and embrace a journey toward profound well-being and creating true freedom. We challenge patriarchal medicine, question fear-based culture, and dive deep into topics like quantum healing, energy medicine, mental science, consciousness, and universal spiritual laws. Whether you're here for solo explorations or the insightful interviews with individuals who've conquered fear and disease and broken through limitations, you're in for a transformative experience. If you're seeking empowerment, if you're ready for a life-changing shift, you're in the right place. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Martha Blessing, and welcome back to this episode of the Place to Be Free podcast. I want to talk today about something that I call Rescue Me Healing. Are you engaged in the concept, the idea in your healing, and is it keeping you stuck that you have a subconscious belief about being rescued? What do I mean by that? Very often we have made an agreement in childhood when we were younger. You've heard me talk about this many times on the podcast. And it comes from childhood. It comes from a core wound. It comes from a belief, right? We don't even know that we're doing it or that we have it because it's unconscious and subconscious. When that happens, you will participate unknowingly in circumstances, in situations where you feel that you need to be rescued. If there is an energy of being rescued, in your subconscious, if there is an energy pattern of victim, and I don't use these words in judgment, I really want you to be able to hear and understand how we create patterns of illness, right? And what does it take to get out of them? And so you'll keep putting yourself in a situation. I did it for years. Many of my clients have done it for years. You'll continue putting yourself into that energy and those experiences in life that create you to stay stuck in the same patterns, the same energy, right? You can't seem to get out of it. And when that happens, you think that I must not have found the right modality. I must not have found the right practitioner. And this is why people will get better for a little while, and then the symptoms come back when they, you've heard me say dropping themselves off on the table, right? You go for Reiki, you go for whatever healing modality it is, acupuncture. Yes, it will release the energy that's trapped, but what is causing the energy to be trapped? It's fear, it's doubt, it's worry, it's something that's related to this core wound and the rescue me pattern, right? So what's a good example of this? Lyme disease. I see a lot of clients in my business and practice with Lyme disease. And if you're listening and you've had Lyme disease and you're still struggling with it, in no way, shape, or form am I being judgmental about this. I want you to heal it. I want you to understand why you might still have it. Okay. And so I know people who have had Lyme disease who have gotten over it with a round of antibiotics and poof, they're on their way. It's no longer in their periphery. It's no longer in their body. It's no longer in their field, right? Like none of it. They're not focused on it and it's over and gone and done and they get on with their lives. And there's no residual effects whatsoever. And I know other people who have come to me for help and they have a belief that every single problem and symptom that they're struggling with at this point in their lives, and usually by this time, 7 years later after the event of Lyme disease, they've got a lot of symptoms now. It wasn't the Lyme disease. Sorry, guys. They think that everything is caused by the Lyme disease, but guess what? There is a victim and there is a rescue me energy around the Lyme disease. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't a real world, tangible, I got bit, I have Lyme disease. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not being airy-fairy about it. We do live in physical 3D cause and effect world, okay? However, ask yourself and consider this and think about this. Why do some people completely heal, take a round of antibiotics, 2-3 weeks, Lyme's gone, they're on with their life, no symptoms, no problems. And then there's someone who is struggling with all of it and rounds of antibiotics, and 7 years later they still have digestive issues. And and it's not to say again that the physical 3D of antibiotics, multiple antibiotics, won't harm your gut flora and your bacteria in your body, right? We understand that. I understand that. I've treated many patients when I was a nurse that were in that situation. However, that is a simple replace the good bacteria, change a little bit of what you eat. That is not a 7-year ongoing problem and situation that was all created from the Lyme. And I continue to go back to our bodies know how to be healthy, right? Our bodies know how to be healthy. So most of the time it's coming back to, if there is a belief in victim, this upholds that belief subconsciously in your mindset, right? It keeps you in a victim state. It keeps you in the shame and the guilt and the rescue that's already the origin in the subconscious of creating illness. What happens is when we have this rescue identity, which I did for many years, I'm not criticizing or judging. I had that rescue identity. And so why did it take me 10 years to get out of pain? Well, yes, there was that physical 3D real world. My nerves were damaged. But then what was it I did to actually defy the doctors who told me I would never walk again, and to get rid of the pain and rid of the fibromyalgia? It was to remove the core cause, that rescue victim pattern that was related to abuse. Right? So I needed to have some kind of problem in order to remain a victim, in order to have someone rescue me. How and why do we create that need for rescue? It comes back to our 3 basic needs as a child: self-love, safety, or love, self-esteem, and safety. The rescue pattern is a part of that dynamic. And it's not that I don't have empathy for anyone that has the Lyme disease or autoimmune. Our bodies know how to be healthy, but we're using that unconsciously and subconsciously. That belief is stored in our subconscious. And we're going to attract, and we're going to continue to do the things that create a dynamic for us. It's not my fault. I can't help myself. I had to quit my job. I'm stressed. These are all of the things that I hear and the patterns that this victim and rescue healing creates. And that's when you keep going and trying therapy and going and having Reiki and going and having acupuncture, and you've taken all the supplements, you've followed all of, think about this, how this makes sense, especially with Lyme. Oh my goodness. Pretty much everyone who comes to me with Lyme has done every diet, elimination and otherwise. They're still not better. They have done all of the testing and the allergy testing and the muscle testing and the kinesiology, and they go down this rabbit hole with functional medicine, and they're still not better. Ask yourself why that is. With everything that we have, with all the supplements, with all 3, 4, 5, 6 years later, I'm not better. It's because of whatever this pattern and program is that you've chosen unconsciously to uphold. Shame, guilt, rescue. That's how it works. Shame, guilt, rescue. When you recognize who you truly are, when you start to learn the things that I teach people in my programs and the things that the practices that we do to remove this tape, to remove this identity and belief and story. Number one is to recognize, oh, wow, yes, I have this belief. I didn't even see it. I didn't even recognize it. I didn't. It's why we keep landing back in the same pattern. When you see it and you recognize it, then you have the power and the ability to remove it. Just having someone sweep your energy or, remove the energy, or taking a supplement, the supplements and the functional medicine and the things that are going wrong on a physical level is because we're still holding that energy and shame and guilt and the rescue pattern in our psyche, in our subconscious. We don't get this is where people have trouble with law of attraction and manifesting, right? They're like, I'm seeing myself healthy, but the pattern is stored in the subconscious where they can't get at it. They don't know that it's there. So you've got to be able to understand how these laws work, how the subconscious and the conscious mind works, the agreements that you've made, the roles that you've taken on. And you're only going to get what you believe to be true in your subconscious. The conscious mind is to be used to create intention and attention for what it is we desire. We have to use our thoughts to program properly, but it's that subconscious belief and pattern that is cause and effect, because you're taking that, essentially that rescue pattern that you have, and you are spiritual substance, you are source, and you're putting it in, it's already in you, and you're putting it out into the universe. So if you spend 5 minutes in the morning visualizing and trying to program what it is you desire for your healing, but underneath the surface, what you believe to be true is that you can't be healthy, you can't have anything and everything that you want and be fit and be happy and be healthy and be successful, because you need to be rescued, right? You can't have both. And so whatever is that belief underneath the surface in the subconscious is going to be what you get. So no matter how many times you drop yourself off on a table, no matter how many supplements you take, our body knows how to be healthy. It's in our mind. God didn't create these illnesses. we're upholding them. Spiritually, we're upholding them with our belief system. So you've got to get at recognizing and accepting and really becoming aware and being, what is the truth about this? Being truthful with yourself. Do I have a rescue pattern? Ask yourself, do I have a rescue pattern? If you're doing stillness practices, you know, if you've listened to me at all, or you've done any of my programs or my work, you know that I have the love meditation. You know that I recommend stillness practices. Go into your stillness. Ask yourself, do I have a rescue pattern? Ask to be shown, do I have a rescue pattern? It'll show you. And then you have to have the tools and the means to remove it, because it's unconscious, subconscious. And that pattern energetically is what's creating the illness. It's creating the doubt and the fear and the worry and the guilt and the shame in your tissues, in your energy, in your chakra system. And then when you pile on top of it, oh, I've tried everything. I've tried so many things and I've gotten a little better, but not completely better. What starts to happen is you now have another belief on top of the rescue belief that it can't happen for you. You now, like, you have hope, but you also have a belief that there's something wrong with you, why it isn't happening for you. And you start to doubt and you start to go back into fear and confusion. I probably talk to at least 10 people a week in this exact same pattern. And they want to work with me and they want the help, but there's still a story. And so they won't allow themselves to have a quantum leap into health and wellness. Like, literally, healing doesn't take a long time. It isn't hard. You've heard me say it a million times on the podcast. They won't allow themselves to work with me. And they'll bargain and they'll think about how they can't do it. And it's too much time, or it's too much money, or it's too much this. When in truth and reality, if they get better, that rescue pattern is going to have to be addressed. And it will go away. It will go away. So in order to heal, especially with the Lyme disease and any other pattern, we don't get what we want and what we visualize. We get what we believe and hold to be true in our subconscious. If you're struggling with this, please reach out to me. The first thing I recommend is to go and take the wellness quiz. What's your wellness barrier? Because until you understand this and you look at this, you haven't gotten to the core cause. You've got to excavate the core cause. Just taking supplements the rest of our life is not what we're intended to do. When you get to the core cause and you learn how to remove it, then you are fully empowered. And literally, Lyme disease can disappear. You start thinking differently, you start believing differently, and suddenly it's gone. When for 7 years you had trouble getting rid of it. Please don't struggle. Please don't suffer. Your body knows how to be healthy. It doesn't have to be hard, and it doesn't have to take a long time. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next podcast. Thanks for joining me on another episode of the Place to Be Free podcast. If you found inspiration in our discussions on empowered living, mindset, and spiritual laws and healing, don't forget to subscribe and share the wisdom with your community. Connect with me on social media, and for exclusive content, free resources, and to stay updated on upcoming episodes, visit the website at marthablessing.com/free stuff. Until next time, remember, you're the author of your story. Keep breaking through barriers, defy old worn-out beliefs and patterns, and create a life without limitation. I'll see you in the next episode.